Naming your child is a monumental responsibility. You get to tag and identify, for life, a whole new person. Throughout your child's life, that name will come up every hour of every day. Name, please. Hi, what's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. And with every usage, that name will, for good or bad, represent to the whole world and its people, for all eternity, your child. Which is why you don't want to mess it up. And thy name shall be something, by Paul Reiser. People mess up their kids' names all the time. Not on purpose, usually with the best of intentions. New parents who want their kids to stand out and be recognized are the ones responsible for kindergartens full of Zebediahs or Queequegs or Moons. Lovely and creative names all, but unfortunately, these kids are in for a lifetime of quizzical stares, judgmental smirks, and patronizing displays of phony interest, in response to which they can only say, yeah, my parents were into a thing. The power is extraordinary. The simple combinations of letters and sounds can result in a lifetime of carefree coolness or decades of expensive therapy. Hi, I'm Jake. Versus, hi, I'm Tapioca? Not to denigrate the virtues of being unique, it's just that there's a fine line between good unique and just plain wrong. Good unique is when you call your child's name and he's the only one that comes running. Just plain wrong is when he's running because he's being chased. I imagine that the reason why there are so many Bobs and Janes year after year is that even parents who want to be creative, they just ultimately chicken out. And understandably, you never know when the name you love today is going to be hideous tomorrow. It's kind of like that jacket you wore in your high school yearbook photo. It may have been cutting edge that week, but for the rest of your life, you're known as the maroon plaid jacket guy with lapels the size of sea flags. All I'm saying is that if you name your daughter Trixie or Tina, she's more likely to sleep in a van with a band from Seattle than the exact same girl named Ruth. This, of course, is not scientifically documented or anything, but I think I know what I'm talking about. Many parents say that their kids just popped into this world and a name just revealed itself. He looks like an Elliot. Let's call him Elliot. Come on! Nobody 7 minutes old looks like Elliot. It takes years to look like Elliot. If your child is like most newborns, your precious little one will enter this world looking like one of three things. Winston Churchill, Mahatma Gandhi, or boiled chicken. That's basically it. In some cultures, they don't even name their babies right away. They wait until they see how the child develops, see how they behave, and then name the kid accordingly. Like in Dances with Wolves. If you stand with your fist clenched, your colt stands with a fist. I like that system. It certainly makes it easier to remember people you've met. Hey, how's that one guy doing? What guy? You know, the one who's always, yelling at the vegetables? You mean barks at salad? Yes, barks at salad! How's he doing? Unfortunately, our kids' names would be less romantic and poetic. Certainly less warrior-like. This is my oldest son. Falls off his tricycle. His best friend dribbles his juice. And my beautiful daughter, allergic to nuts. In some cases, people don't even agonize at all about finding the perfect name. They simply give the kid their name. He'll be me, but me junior. Followed by me, the third. Followed by me, the fourth. Certainly moves things along. Of course, if you're really pressed for time, you can do what heavyweight champ George Foreman did. Name all of his kids George Foreman. God bless him. Great fighter, a fine humanitarian. Certainly not the most creative in the naming department. A whole family named George Foreman. This is my oldest boy, George Foreman. His younger brother, George Foreman. And this one's 5.5. Say hello to George Foreman. Sometimes naming is simplified by family mandates. He will be named after his grandfather. Or, she shall take her mother's surname, and it shall be as her own. And they shall go forth unto themselves with their beasts and their grains, and in the desert shall they sojourn. I'm sorry, I just saw the 10 Commandments on TV, and frankly, I enjoy talking like that. In our case, we wanted to name our child after my father. We didn't want to use the exact same name, but something beginning with the same letter. We had plenty of girls' names we liked, but nothing for a boy. So when our son came out as a boy, as almost all sons do, we were stuck. So we decided to honor my father's name by making it our son's middle name. Middle names are kind of like vice presidents. It's a fine distinction and certainly an honor, but you're never not aware that someone else got the real job. But parents often give middle names just so when they're yelling at the kid, they can drag it out. Henry David Thoreau, you come in here this instant! Gives them something extra to sink their teeth into. If, however, you assassinate someone, well, then your middle name is all over the place. Once you shoot a famous person, your middle name, whether you like it or not, gets permanently cemented right between your first and last name. They just run those puppies together like Shunny and Cher. You can never undo something like that. But middle names can also represent opportunities for name givers to safely store their really creative choices. So when you meet kids named Stanley DiMaggio Miller or Carol Satchmo Smith, you know that their parents not only had high doses of creative sparks, but discretion too. Once you announce your child's name, people take it in for a moment, digest it and say, okay, but what are you going to call him? What do you mean, what am I going to call him? His name? Oh, of course, but what's the nickname going to be? This was a setback I hadn't seen coming. After finally picking a name the two of you like, your family tells you it's not enough. You have to come up with a menu of officially sanctioned deviations and nicknames which they're going to disregard anyway. Hello, Snooky. Who's my sweet pumpkin? They get called a lot of foods, these babies. Honey, angel cake, cupcake, sweet pea, pudding. But not all names. You never hear an infant called steak or chicken parmesan or eggs. I think desserts and side dishes are okay. Entrees and appetizers, not okay. So we bought every book out there on baby names. Because when you're not by nature good with decisions, what could be more pleasant than slugging through every name registered in every town on the globe? While it's nice to learn about other people's, I'm not sure that any one family needs that many choices. You're probably going to stay within a given range. Very few end up deciding, okay, Achman's a bread if it's a girl, and if it's a boy, Scott. Some names you can eliminate pretty comfortably, like Adolf or Medusa. Ugh. Yep, naming your child is a monumental responsibility. You get to tag and identify for life a whole new person. Throughout your child's life, that name will come up every hour of every day. And with every usage, that name will, for good or bad, represent to the whole world and its people, for all eternity, your child. Which is why you don't want to mess it up.